If working hard made people rich, teachers, nurses, and factory workers would all be millionaires. But they're not, and there's a reason for that. The truth nobody tells you is this: the rich don't get richer by working more hours. They get richer by circulating money inside a system that's designed to reward ownership, not labor. Every single day, millions of people wake up, go to work, trade their hours for dollars, and call that earning a living. That's just what we do, right? Meanwhile, a much smaller group of wealthy individuals wakes up and asks a completely different question: where should my money move today so it grows without my labor? Regular people run on labor income. The rich run on circulated wealth. And here's the thing: the system protects one of these paths far more than the other. This isn't about intelligence or who's smarter. It's not about morality or who's a better person. And it's definitely not about effort or who works harder. It's simply about how money is allowed to grow in our economic system. Once you understand this, everything else starts to make sense. There are two fundamentally different ways to build wealth in this world. Most people only ever learn about one of them. The first is labor-based wealth, and this is how the vast majority of people live their entire lives. You sell your time, you get paid a wage, simple as that. But here's the catch: you stop working, and your income stops immediately. Your money is taxed the moment you earn it. It loses value to inflation every single day, and it gets spent on survival. You're essentially running just to stay in the same place. It's exhausting, and it never really gets you ahead no matter how hard you push. Then there's the second type, circulated wealth. This is how the system actually rewards the rich, and it works completely differently. With circulated wealth, money is not exchanged for your time. Instead, it's deployed strategically through assets, debt structures, interest payments, and various financial instruments. Each cycle extracts more value from the system, and here's the wild part: it often does this without creating anything tangible that you can actually touch or see. The key difference you need to understand is this: labor is linear, 1 hour equals 1 payment. But circulated wealth is exponential. It compounds and multiplies on itself. Now here's where it gets really uncomfortable for most people. This system we're living in, it didn't just happen naturally over time. It was intentionally designed this way. At the center of this entire system sits the central bank and modern monetary policy. When markets crash or things start falling apart, they step in immediately. Interest rates are lowered to encourage borrowing, liquidity is injected into the financial system, and asset prices are stabilized to prevent complete collapse. But here's the critical question: who actually owns those assets that are being propped up? Not the regular 9-to-5 worker, that's for sure. They own labor, not assets. So every single rescue operation ends up inflating the value of stocks, real estate, and bonds, while wages for regular workers lag further and further behind. This is exactly why asset owners always recover first after any economic crisis, while workers somehow feel poorer after every cycle, even when the news says the economy is doing great. Inflation doesn't hurt everyone equally, and that's the secret they don't teach you in school. It punishes cash holders and people who earn wages for a living. But at the same time, it rewards people who borrow money and people who hold assets. And the average person working their regular job, they're too busy surviving day to day to even notice this wealth transfer happening. Let's be completely honest about something. Most people don't sit around reading central bank statements or policy announcements. They don't track interest rate cycles or try to predict what the Fed will do next. They don't understand bond markets, yield curves, or quantitative easing. And here's the thing: they shouldn't have to understand all of that technical stuff. They're busy raising their kids, paying their bills, going to work, and just trying to live their lives. That's already a full-time job in itself. But the wealthy? They don't need to work harder than everyone else. What they do is position themselves strategically within the system so they can benefit from how it moves. They know exactly when to act. When interest rates are low, they borrow heavily. When assets start inflating, they hold on to what they have and let it appreciate. When rates begin to rise, they shift their positions to protect their wealth. And when panic hits the markets and everyone's selling, that's when they buy at discounted prices. This happens every single cycle, again and again like clockwork. They're not predicting the future or using some crystal ball. They just react faster because they're closer to the system and have better information. This isn't some grand conspiracy with secret meetings in dark rooms. It's simply about access to information, proximity to the financial system, and understanding how the game actually works. This is where the comfortable lie we've all been told completely falls apart. We keep telling people to work harder, save more money, and get a better job. But here's the brutal truth. No amount of personal effort can beat currency debasement, asset inflation working against you, and compounding interest that favors the system, not you. A worker's best years, their prime earning years, get traded for a currency that's constantly losing value, costs that keep rising faster than wages, and a retirement that keeps getting pushed further away. Meanwhile, circulated wealth just compounds quietly in the background, growing exponentially while most people aren't even aware it's happening. Hard work is absolutely honorable and valuable, but in this particular system we're living in right now, it is not the primary wealth generator. Ownership is what creates real wealth. Now imagine for a moment a different kind of system. Not some perfect utopia where everyone's equal, but just a system that's less rigged against the average person. Imagine a currency that can't be inflated away by endless money printing. No more silent theft of your purchasing power while you sleep. No more devaluation of your savings. Your savings would actually mean something again and hold their value over time. Interest rates would be market-driven without central bank manipulation trying to engineer specific outcomes. Borrowing would reflect real risk and real scarcity of capital in the market, not arbitrary policy decisions made by a handful of officials in a boardroom. No more debt-fueled government spending that just kicks problems down the road. Governments would have to live within their means, no bond market games, and no future generations paying for today's political promises. Banks would function as custodians of wealth, not casinos gambling with everyone's deposits. No more too big to fail institutions, no leverage bombs waiting to explode, and no socialized losses when they mess up. Money would return to its original purpose as a tool for exchange and storing value, not a weapon that's used to extract wealth from those who can least afford to lose it. Here's the uncomfortable truth you need to hear. You can't change this entire system overnight, no matter how much you want to or how angry you are about it. But what you absolutely can do is change your position within the system. You can start thinking and acting like circulated wealth instead of just trading time for money. Start by owning productive assets that generate value without your constant labor. Reduce your dependency on wages as your only source of income. Minimize any debt that doesn't generate positive cash flow for you. And most importantly, learn how money actually moves through the system, not just how it's earned through a paycheck. Your goal here isn't necessarily to work less or be lazy. Your real goal is to decouple your survival from your labor, so you're not always one paycheck away from disaster. Because true financial freedom doesn't come from having a high income or a fancy job title. It comes from having leverage in the system and owning assets that work for you. The rich don't win this game because they're evil or immoral, and the poor don't lose because they're lazy or unmotivated. That's not how this works at all. They're simply playing two completely different games with different rules. One game is trading time for money, which has a built-in ceiling. The other is circulating money to create more money, which has no ceiling. Once you really see this distinction clearly, you can't unsee it. It changes how you view every financial decision and every opportunity that comes your way. And once you truly understand the game being played, you finally get to make a conscious choice about whether you want to keep playing the wrong game or learn the rules of the game that actually builds wealth.